Good morning and welcome back to Almus Market Mornings. Sometimes you don't need to watch the daily soap for some drama. Life provides it. And that's been going on in the Fed since President Trump took over. President Trump has recently called on Governor Lisa Cook to step down from the Board of Governors due to an alleged mortgage fraud. We will track the story closely as it develops. Meanwhile, markets have been range bound due to lack of major economic data. USD INR regained the 87 mark but traded with a weakening bias. Good morning, JK. What are your thoughts on these recent developments?
Good morning, Swaraj. Okay, the Cook saga is not too significant as of now. Of course, as and when some action does happen, after allegations are proved, I feel that will be used as a chance to induct one more dove into the federal board. That is what I see. But then we can't comment beyond that because these are just allegations, and we know how Trump reacts to all anything regarding the federal board. So markets, of course, are yesterday's focus was obviously on federal meeting minutes, and the meeting minutes actually showed that almost all the members backed the July interest rate decision, which was a hold. And as we know, two members backed the rate cut, and officials actually worried over the prospect of weaker employment at the meeting. But majority of them thought that the risk of higher inflation was greater. So basically, the balance was still seen to be in with the inflation being higher, and hence the decision to hold the rate was taken. So, of course, since that meeting, we have seen yeah, horrible economic data of employment, and that probably could be at the back of mind when Jackson Hole meeting Powell speaks. And nothing new came from the the FOMC minutes, and definitely it has not thrown any fresh positive or added to the expectations that there will be a rate cut or anything. But markets continues now with a slightly lowered expectation of 83% probability of a September rate cut of 0.25%, not 0.5%, which Treasury Secretary President has been mentioning about. Now, with that over, now we have now entire focus is on Jackson Hole meeting. This is, of course, the 48th edition of the meeting, and the meeting's theme is a labor market in transition, demographic productivity, and macroeconomic policy. Of course, there will be 3 points on which Powell will have to uh, give his thoughts. One is the interest rate outlook, obviously, whether there is a change in the outlook because of the deterioration in the economic data, particularly on the unemployment, while inflation perhaps started to show up in the prices now, particularly the PPI data, which came much higher than expected, and whether it will pass through going forward into the retail prices. That's one. Secondly, there is also a discussion that will happen on Federal Reserve's decision-making framework. So he is set to cover the ongoing policy framework review, which could have longer-term implications for the monetary policy. If you remember, in 2020, there was, in 2021 actually, there was a decision to adopt average inflation targeting policy, and that actually meant that Fed will not act immediately on citing some inflation number, and they will actually look at whether the inflation sustains over a period. Then they will act. So that was subsequently became a matter of criticism because Fed was too late in hiking rates when the inflation was going up post pandemic. So now, whether what kind of new framework they are going to adopt, and that may be very important in the coming months, as Fed deliberates on the monetary policy. And of course, they will also have to deal with the independence of the Fed because that is a very hot topic that's been going on for quite some time. There's been a lot of pressure from the politicians for Fed to cut rates, not just meagerly, but also in substantially, because the government's intention is obviously to One is to reduce their cost of financing the huge debt pile of 37 trillion. Secondly, of course, to also boost the housing sector, which is in doldrums. But whether Fed will heed to these arguments, or whether it will go by its own mandate of dual mandate of maintaining high employment and inflation being under control, and that is what they have to project how independent Fed is going to be in the current circumstances. So that is the outlook. That is actually what the market is looking forward to. Obviously, if there is any deviation from the previous statements of Powell, that wait and watch attitude, if he indicates anything, market could react positively. But then the chances look to be less, particularly after the PPI number. And therefore, if he stands on the same argument, then probably markets could take a bit of a knock on that basis. Yes, in fact, you should also take into account the recent affirmation of AA plus for US by the S&P credit rating agency. While they did, though, they actually said that without the credibility, flexibility, and stability what the Fed provides, and its crucial role is preserving dollar's reserve currency status, credit rating of the US could be materially lower. So they've actually said the crucial that the institutional independence in the US is maintained, and that the rules-based approach of these institutions is very crucial for US to maintain its credibility and also the rating. So this is also something that will weigh on the minds of the policymakers. And of course, data calendar gets slightly thicker today. Jobless claims, the weekly number, the Philly Fed manufacturing index, and of course the flash PMI numbers on manufacturing and services. These numbers will be closely watched. Whether the tariff uh, proposals are continuing to have an impact or not. That's about what we are going to look forward to today. The dollar is, of course, still ranging. Maybe some more profit taking as and when we see a dip in the dollar. That's what we could see. However, nothing major actually until we have this Jackson Hole meeting through. And although the geopolitics on the Russia-Ukraine peace talks now taken a backseat, because this proposed direct meeting between Putin and Zelensky date is not yet known when they will meet. There are obviously some expectations from the Europe and Ukrainian side, which Putin will have to meet. So that is something. As and when the date is announced, market starts to build its expectations on what to expect from the meeting. As I said, the dollar has been ranging. Maybe some more profit taking in the dollar is possible, and of course, depending on how the Fed projects itself in the upcoming Jackson Hole meeting. Rupee, as I said, has maintained near about 87 levels. The gains are broadly maintained. The recent move in this week. However, at 87, we have also heard about the PSU banks coming back and buying. Actually, looking at the various challenges on the external macro front, there's no case for rupee to be too strong, at least as of now, particularly when the dollar is also not stopped falling and looking like correcting itself. So the only reason we could have seen this strength, and perhaps for a couple of sessions more, is the ongoing large amount of IPOs, and these outflows related to these could be keeping the market on the offer side, although it could well be absorbed by the nationalized banks as well. And of course, as we know, as and when these IPOs are done, we also get the outflows of repatriation of excess money subscribed. So it's just a matter of flows. Fundamentally, no major strength in the rupee should be seen, unless we have any major positive trigger. So that's it. Look forward to the upcoming meeting, and meeting of Jackson Hole starts today. and Powell's speech is scheduled for tomorrow. It is at 7:30 p.m. India time. Thank you.
Thank you, JK. And just quickly summarizing for the FOMC minutes, which were released yesterday, it showed that most members were concerned about inflation, and that risk was placed higher than the job market risk. Markets continue to expect a 25 basis point cut in September. We have the Jackson Hole meeting to look forward to tomorrow, from today, but Powell's speech will be tomorrow. Theme, of course, is labor market in transition, and Powell will be giving his thoughts on the interest rate outlook, employment situation, and interestingly, what he thinks of the recent PPI print as well, which was much higher than expectations, whether we are finally seeing the tariff impact seeping through prices. Data to look out for today would be the jobless claims, flash PMI on manufacturing and services. While dollar remained range bound, the US China continued to trade around 87, broadly stable yesterday. That's it from us today. Thanks for listening. We'll catch up tomorrow with a fresh round of updates.